So uh, we will not criticize to other martial art of Filipino. They are also good, but the only thing I can say is different style. Okay, we'll start now.
Uh, this ain't a rap song. You know where you at, Holmes? You know it's 100 of us in that Cadillac. You know Filipinos, though. Might spill my 40 on the couch. My mom ain't tripping, no. Cause she got plastic wrapped around it like a Kia car. I'm from the blood of savages they brought to world fairs. Chained up to a pole for Caucasians to point and stare scared. The ones who could not drop from calibers the army had. So they made
House of Gongs featuring Ron and Lydia. Fred and Gilbert. Congratulations. Okay. Good. You want to check on the sound? I think it's it's fading a bit. It goes on and off. Might be clipping.
Okay, we're rocking too hard over here.
Yeah.
You might play. You want us to keep playing, or should I move
Keep playing.
dialogue? Playing. Oh, he wants one more from Lydia.
Yeah.
All right. Does that sound better at all?
Yeah, a little better. So you guys are rocking hard, but a little better.
Better, says Wesley.
Yeah. Hello. All right. You want to intro yourself?
Yeah, thanks. Welcome to House of Gongs. We're here sheltered in place in Oakland, California. And what you see is our home setup. We have, when we're not sheltered in place, we do have students here every Saturday. And it's kind of an informal place where we can dialogue, get to know each other, learn, and jam on kulintang. If you're not familiar with the kulintang, it's that instrument right there, the main instrument, the gong instrument. And it is an indigenous musical tradition from Mindanao, and we're specifically specializing in Maguindanao and Maranao and Filipino-American fusion styles. So that's basically what we do. We're all feeling the effects of COVID-19 here.
Wait. You didn't introduce yourselves yet.
Oh, and I am Ronaldo, aka I also do kulintronica. I mix traditional kulintang like with what you've seen with deep house in different styles. You can look at my stuff on Spotify and stuff. Kulintronica, and next to me is my lovely wife, Lydia, who is a dancer and a kulintang player, and she also works behind the scenes as a producer. She does a lot of cool stuff, but she told me she didn't want to talk today. So I guess I can talk about what's going on with the COVID now, or can we drop
whatever. Like, how are you guys altering or pivoting? Kind of your operating model, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the House of Gongs model in particular it's really about building relationships. So what we do is we invite people over and we feed them first. We eat first, and we chat, get to know each other, and build a rapport. And then we teach, and then teach you enough so that you can jam. So with shelter in place, that model is pretty hard hit. We can't really do that. So I do want to give the shout out to Christian for hosting unKonference so that we can be in community with you all and bring the kulintang to you guys. For other kulintang groups and the greater Philippine folk music and dance community at large, we're really hard hit by this. A lot of spring shows have been canceled. Cool Arts had a big production that they've had to cancel because their cast size alone is beyond the legal limit that we're allowed to gather in. We have this weird, cannot gather in more than 10 people. Can we plug a kulintang? I can't see the whole question.
The question is, where can they learn more? What's her website?
Oh, houseofgongs.com, right? Houseofgongs.com. And um, some people want to see the baby. I don't know if she's gonna
Ray
make her
wants
debut.
to. Uncle Ray wants to see. Tito Ray wants to see the baby.
Oh,
He's
I
sleeping.
think that's the introduction to the world, the very first public intro of baby Ronnie Bell. That's the name.
what the? So yeah, the other things, lots of gigs have been canceled. All the folk dance groups, don't have anything to do right now. PCN, which is the thank you, she's a cutie pie. PCN, which is Filipino Cultural Night. I think on the East Coast they call it something slightly different, but that's the collegiate level where Filipino student groups learn Filipino folk dance and they present it on stage. That's all canceled. This is like the first season. I've been doing this since year 2000. It's the first season that everything's been canceled. Rest in peace to PCN. We'll see if it comes back from the dead. House of Gongs has performed at Undiscovered a couple times, so that was us. I do want. We're really blessed to have a relationship with Kinding Sindao, which was able to pivot and put their show online. So I'm hoping to hear from them shortly. But before we get to that, I just wanted to also announce that the other thing that we're doing to pivot, we can't do the House of Gongs model, but we are ramping up our record label. So we have a record label called Gongs Away Music, and it's going to be made available through the Daily Malong website. My wife here runs Daily Malong, where you can get hand-woven malongs and jewelry, other accessories. That's also something that's been hit by COVID because deliveries, fulfillment, everything's delayed on that. But if you want to check that out, that's dailymalong.com. And that's where music's going to be available for people that want to be patrons for it. You can download high-res files from Daily Malong, or you can stream them on Spotify. That's dailymalong.com. Daily as in every day. Everyday Malong. So under Gongs Away, we are going to release a remix from the Kulantronica album that actually uses equipment that we borrowed from Christian here. And then we have an EP that we're going to release, and that's all deep house music. And then we're going to release a recording from master artist Faisal Monal, who lives in Cotabato. The first ever studio recording, a full album of just him playing all the instruments and even chanting. So we're really excited about that. And then we're going to release a double album featuring Conrad Benedictu. Yes, boom. Faisal went into the studio and it was really fun in the studio. And then we're going to release the double album with Conrad Benedicto, where he's going to have one album of traditional music and one album of all original styles. Faisal is the best. All original styles, and so he's got original composition. So that's a debut of recorded Filipino American music, Filipino American kulintang.
What is a malong? Some people may not know.
What is a malong?
Do you have any?
Yeah, so a malong. The malong is a traditional apparel for people in Mindanao, and it's usually a hand woven fabric, and it's shaped like a tube. And because of the shape as a tube, you can wear it in many different styles. And in the modern day, you can still get the hand woven ones. You can also get batiks, which are printed and they're a little less expensive. And Daily Malong, you can get them, either something formal or something casual, and there's lots of different ways to wear it. Since we're just here around the house, we didn't do it. I wonder what, I can't see all of Bernard's question. Christian, is it possible to call upon the members of Kinding Sindao that might have joined in for them to talk about their
who's Yeah, who wants to speak? Just let me unmute Bernard then. Where's Bernard?
Oh no, don't unmute Bernard. If we're looking for a Malika and a Poetry, we're looking for a KP and Zarina, and
Yeah.
there's also a Sunny. Is this something I can do, Christian, or are you the only one that can do it?
Let me see. Who can I unmute?
KP at the
KP.
bottom. Okay. KP and Zarina are on one channel. KP.
Let me try and find
maybe
them. Hold
K
on.
is in Christian. And then
K?
I see
KP, 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 KP. Sorry,
and then
trying to go
also
through all the folks.
unmute Al Afghani Usman. I think that's aka Sunny.
Yeah. Okay, while I'm looking for him, go ahead and.
Sure. So, oh, sorry, aka PJ. So, Panandem is one of the. I'm going to do my best to explain this while we're unmuting Kinding Sindao. Kinding Sindao is a performing arts group in New York, and they have been doing this project where they're retelling Darangen, which is a epic story, epic Maranao story, and it's so long that you can't consume the whole story in one sitting. It's like longer than the Avengers, you know? So you just do like chapter by chapter. And so every year they try to stage one of these, and they staged one this year. And it was right when COVID was ramping up. So what they did is they made their shows they made their first 2 nights by invite only. And then they made their last night, their closing night with no audience. And they live streamed it on a platform called HowlRound. And it was a really slick production that had like multiple cameras, really cool audio, lots of mics on stage. And so hopefully other people were able to tune in. We tuned in. It was the babies' first cultural show because they were able to stream it. And then I think we have KP.
KP, good.
Now?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, KP.
Can y'all hear us okay?
I can see you.
Cool. So there's a question raised about the malong to contextualize and to level off about like what the malong is. So the malong is like you were explaining, it's a tubular garment that is not only in Mindanao and Southern Philippines culture, but it's also present in other, I think in Indonesian culture as well. But it's a garment that is custom made to the individual's, to their dimensions, I guess. It's kind of like a tailored, yes, so as Kathy is saying in the text, it's similar to a sarong, but so I guess to before I go too deep into it, like I am Filipino, but I'm not of Mindanaoan culture. I'm somebody who is part of Kinding Sindao as an act of solidarity, and so I just want to say that like before somebody else who like Malika would be able to better speak to this, but and PJ. So until Al Afghani, if you can unmute him, he would actually be able to give a much more succinct response. But it is kind of it can be worn in multiple ways, just because of its simplicity. Oh yeah.
I know you Kinding Sindao, your members have a wealth of knowledge on lots of aspects of the culture, but I really want to drill down into the Panandem effort and how it relates to the Love for Marawi campaign. Also, I read in your bio, are you from the Bay?
I am originally from the Bay, yes.
Yes, alumni, so we probably know some of the same people. It's great to reconnect with you on this. And I think Zarina's from West Coast too, right?
I'm from Seattle, yeah.
Cool, very cool.
Hi, Porty, you've been unmuted. Should be okay.
Okay, PJ, are you hearing us?
Oh yes. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Gigi, do you want to talk about it?
Oh
You.
yes. Um, I think Ati Puchi is she is here also, right? So guys, by the way, I am PJ again. So last week we showcased the Pananadam by Kending Sindao, which means it's remembering in Darangan. Yeah, Pananadam means remembering. So we are very happy that even because of this COVID case, we still had a chance to show one of the best story in Darangan. And I think Tita Putri can also add more about Kinding Sindao.
Is poetry on or Malika? Can you
Yeah.
can you jump provide more
And or
context?
Malaika. Yes, Malaika.
Do you want to go first, Nay?
Mhm.
Hello? I see her waving, but I don't think her
Yeah,
audio
I
is
think.
coming through.
Yeah, she's unmuted. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
so Pananadam, it was we called it a remembering specifically because we wanted to highlight the Maranao. So the Darangin is shared by the Maranao people, who are the people of the lake from
Yeah.
Lake Lanao. And it's also shared by the Iranon and Maguindanao. So, but actually, if there's so many chapters, like you said, it's very long. It actually travels, each chapter is devoted to a different place, and these are current places. So our focus was Dirimbang, and this is current day Lanao. So it was called Remembering because we specifically wanted to shed light on the current conditions of the Maranao people. Lanao is their ancestral land. I'm a Filipino American, but my mom, who I was hoping could could also speak up right now, who founded Kining Sindao, is Maranao tradition bearer. She's Baila Biagos sa Borokot Maging, which is also where Alafani Usman Kuya PJ is from. And so we called it Remembering because it's about remembering our identity as the Maranao people, and also, calling upon the Filipino Americans, the Filipinos, and the international audience in understanding that this is a very ancient, important epic that, is something to be really proud of and preserve, but also is something that's very much endangered because the Maranao people are currently displaced. They've been displaced since 2017 with the siege of Marawi.
Marawi.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that struck me on the performance is that in the opening scenes, you have members of the community that are dressed in traditional wear, but it looks like they're packing all their belongings like in modern suitcases and stuff.
Yeah.
And the paramilitary characters, they're all dressed in modern gear. So there's this kind of, is this a juxtaposition? Like, is this a historical fiction type of thing, or are you bringing Darangan to a current event, and to also tie it in? Like I noticed in the third act, you actually have some stats like 696 days, I think it was, at the time of displaced people. What was the intent behind weaving in that story into Panandam?
Yeah, so actually I can share. We have digital program notes that kind of speak to the messages we were trying to bring with, the current condition. But basically, the very first scene was actually intended to be when we had it in the theater, a pre-show. So we had a permanent campsite set up at the very front entrance, and then you walk through into the theater. And so that also, while you're leaving the theater, you are reminded that these people have been living in temporary shelters, in
evacuation shelters.
Evacuation center. Exactly. For almost 3 years now.
Almost 3 years.
Yeah, it's like there's like a month until the third year, actually, the anniversary. So you know, and then the paramilitaries that you're referencing, those were actually memories of my mom. Putri Rangkamanis, if you're able to unmute her, because she would better be able to talk about this. But so PJ joined us. He's of the younger generation who's familiar very much with the current situation.
Yes.
And then we brought up the past situation with Putri that shows the paramilitaries, because they were very much, they're currently militarized. That's what the Marawi siege brought, but it also, in over the years, ever since the Philippines officially, Mindanao officially became part of the Philippines with the coming of the Americans, the Maranao people and all the communities in Mindanao have been militarized. So the beginning of our show is actually talking about Poetry's memories in that situation. You had the Balimbang massacre that was over 2,000 people that were massacred in a masjid in Sultan Kudarat, Maguindanao, and that was just a daily reality just during the Marcos time. And so it's talking about how the Maranao people were displaced, the Moro people have been displaced throughout their lives under, you know, the recent history, and then now they're currently displaced. So these are the situations we're trying to prevent from happening. And you also had, so Potri, my mother was actually a political prisoner at 13 years old. So that's what that part of the show shows. And that wasn't uncommon.
That was blindfolded?
Yeah, she was blindfolded for, I think, I want her to correct me, but 3 weeks straight. And I told her to try and call via cell phone.
Yes, he's unmuted.
I think she's unmuted.
Yeah.
I
but
think
the
connection's not well.
Yeah. So during the Marcos time, everyone, I mean, that was the trouble when with the current situation is being profiled as a Moro, a Muslim in Mindanao. But back then, if you were profiled as a Maranao, you were seen as possibly a rebel, because there was very much a strong resistance movement, right? The Mindanao wasn't officially part of the Philippines until like 1898. So of course people didn't take that and just accept that. And that's the reason why the root of our identity of the Philippines is really in Mindanao, because it was not touched by the colonizers. And so that's why the Maranao people are the holders of the Darangin. You know, it's the Maranao people holds the most ancient, arguably the most ancient of the cultural practices. You still have like all of the centuries old ways of carving, of weaving, of the, you know, the music, and also of the Darangin, which is traditionally by chant. So of course there was chanting throughout. And one thing you couldn't see in our live stream was that we tried to create subtitles. And also, so there's different aspects of the Maranao culture that we highlighted that are very much still practiced today, except now that people are displaced. So PJ or Alafgani Osman and KP, for instance, were doing sipa, which is a very old sport. Mm-hmm. So there's so many,
There's a lot going on, but to kind of tie it into today. So when you see things like COVID happening here, and then they're issuing shelter in place in state after state, and like limit of number of people gathering and social distancing, does that trigger anything for the global Maranao, or is this even something that it's fair to compare what we're experiencing here in the States and what people in the Philippines, especially IPs, are experiencing? No.
Does anyone? I don't want to be the only one talking. So one thing we were talking about today, particularly those that were on here right now, PJ, KP, and Serena, and Potri, was just the fact that, you know, their situation has remained unchanged. They're still living in tents and evacuation centers. So you can imagine what that means in COVID.
Yeah, still a lot of Maranao people, or the people of Lake Lanao, are still in the evacuation center. That's why, especially this case of COVID, like they are more suffering right now. they are more suffering right now because like like after 3 years, uh last year, I was part of the one of the volunteer group in Marawi City, and then I personally I saw the situation of my kababayan Maranao, like they are really suffering because a lot of support from like other countries or like in the government, um like some of them they cannot longer receive an foreign help, like any kind of help, like health issues, the basic needs, and and especially right now they are still staying in the evacuees, and then now it's there is a COVID issue case, and then I'm really sad. That's why this is actually my first time to be part of Kinding Sindao, and then this is really one of the best way to 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 share to the world, to share to the people, like the demand of the people of Ranao to to come back to their places in Marawi City.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone from Canada that joined us, and thank again, Christian, for having us. And I think we'll leave it there. Back to you, Christian.
Oh,
Cool.
sorry. One more thing. If you could, oh, can I still be heard?
Oh yeah, yes.
Oh, so yeah, so of course, one of the main things we were trying to prop up was the Love for Marawi campaign, which is our social media campaign. I'm gonna type in the URL here, but if you're interested in learning more ways to show solidarity with your cultural work, I would really love if we can connect. So I have that there. And we have our annual Solidarity Fast, because Ramadan is actually coming up in April. And so who knows with COVID what that's going to be like. But normally we would have a Solidarity Fast with the current Marno people.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. So let me, hold on, let me go back. All right. Okay. So let me kick this off. Thanks, Ron and Lydia and everyone for the intro. So for those that don't know, Christian Kabuay, virtual unKonference. Just for some background, I think Ray is on here and Joe from Bayani Art. So around 2015, I don't know if y'all remember that we were doing a festival in Civic Center around April of 2015. It was hella cold. It was slow. Nobody was buying anything. We were doing the usual complaining and we we're talking shit. We're all, man, we're just freezing our ass off, not selling anything. And then, well, we should produce our own event. And we've probably been saying that since like 2011. And I think that we just, I don't know, for some reason, we just like called ourselves out. And then so at the end of, I think it was November 2015, I rented a place in Fort Mason that was hard to find, and basically just a call out to the community. Hey, come over. We're doing this event. There was no entrance fee. It was like, you know, all donation based. Pay what you can. If you don't have any funds, that's cool too. We had vendors where there's no vendor fees. Just pay a percentage of whatever you think is fair. We had a HELA activity. We had some Wright Institute psychology students doing exercise. We had live batok, traditional Philippine tattooing, entrepreneurship talks. And at the end, we had a Kapwa music jam, which I should have thought about it. We could have done that here, but next time. Yeah, everything was pay what you can. You can see more details at the website, unKonference.org with a K. And sort of the goals with this event is like to discuss, disrupt, disseminate, and do. And I have a poll. Let me share the URL again on some things that you want to discuss, and I will put that in the comments. And feel free to add KABU. Feel free to put that in there and let us know what or let me know what you want to talk about. And this is going to be kind of a free for all you know, unKonference. That's why it's unKonference, because we have a couple people that were kind of scheduled more or less, but then it's kind of free flow. So whatever you guys want to talk about, you know, raise your hand and just talk about it, or promote your business, or, you know, some expertise that you have, maybe being an artist. So a little housekeeping. Just so that we have a lot of people on here. All the volume will be muted. The mics will be muted. Just raise your hand or put something in the comments. I have someone that's volunteering, helping monitor the comments. You can ask your questions in the chat. It'd be cool if you could turn your camera up if you want to ask your question in person rather than chat. That's cool too. Also, note that this has been recorded so that the folks that aren't able to make it can watch it later. So that's it. But feel free to add some questions in there, any feedback. And I want to introduce Jim Harvey Sai of Manila Bowl. Hey, Jim, can you hear me? Are you there, Jim? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So Jim Harvey Sai of Manila Bowl. And Jim, I want to give you props for what you're doing kind of to help the local Filipino American restaurants here in the Bay Area. And wanted to see what folks out here can help. All yours.
Yep. Thanks again, Christian, and hello everybody. I apologize if I'm a little dark. I'm trying to fix the glare, but for some reason my laptop's not doing it correctly. But thanks again, Christian. I wanted to take this opportunity to talk to everybody about the restaurant industry. As you guys have already heard, this is an unprecedented time where the whole industry is struggling, just trying to keep their workers employed. The structure of the whole industry is not set up for something like this. Obviously, we'll be able to survive a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but not many in the industry would be able to survive in a month. So what I was trying to do to help everybody out is to obviously organize while everybody's trying to, keep their business alive. I just wanted to come up with a checklist of things that people could do and apply for, especially on the relief side. See what's available to them in terms of relief for employment, for rents, for mortgages, for et cetera. And also taking a look at the different distribution channels that's still available at this point. So far, we've been able to work with the California Treasury Department, and they've been able to provide us with a comprehensive list of what's available. And I'm still getting, it's still changing day by day, depending on the kind of stimulus that's being released by the federal government, or what's going to be available especially on the state and the local level as well. So if you guys have any questions on that, I'd be more than happy to field it. But like I said, this is a very unique situation for us to be in. And unfortunately, the way it looks now, I'm expecting about, if not 50% more than that, that's going to close if we don't resolve this in about a month or two.
Damn. So personally, Jim, what have you done for Manila Bowl? I mean, I assume that you're in the Twitter building, so it's kind of a unique situation.
Exactly. So we were very fortunate in that regards that we're located in a building, in a location that has a grocery store as well. So we're able to keep it open. But now we're dealing with employees that are refusing to come to work. I mean, we fully support that, not wanting to be exposed to the general population. I also have a kitchen within the Twitter building that we've been using to support other businesses, to let them use it free of charge, just to have it as a distribution point. Again, Manila Bowl is very fortunate that we have this captive audience that's always willing to use it. I do have investments in other restaurants such as Camper and Birdsong, full-blown brick and mortars that have their own locations, and those are not faring as well. We had to close Camper as of last week just because of in the interest of our employees in the neighborhood. And Birdsong is actually just doing a takeout now that's going to be either picked up or delivered. But so my plan for Manila Bowl is to close it in the meantime, and for people to be able to pick up their delivery orders from the kitchen. What we're doing is putting pre-orders on the shelves that are located in Manila Bowl, and there's a no contact option for people to just get their deliveries via, any of the delivery platforms or to pick it up themselves. So if anybody's in the restaurant or hospitality business, feel free to reach out to me. I actually have a partner that's based in the Philippines. It's the Kabalan Corporation. They have over 60 restaurants throughout the country. And what they've done is to pretty much freeze all the salaries for management, just so that all the workers could be taken care of. And at some point, obviously, if this keeps going on, they won't be able to support that as well.
Do you have, I think I saw on Facebook that there's a list. Do you have a list going around? What was that list about?
So there's a couple of lists that's going around right now, right? So one is a list of businesses that are still able to cater to individuals that really wants to order or pick up. So that's one. There's several. Eaterhead did one for any restaurant business that's still open and available. We did one that's specifically for the Filipino businesses. But then there's a couple of lists that's, again, trying to tackle the relief efforts that are available to the businesses. And finally, there's a gift card program that I got involved in. And this is basically to allow you to support these businesses and keep their cash flow going, and then for them to pay you back at a later date, and with rewards that's for supporting them during this difficult times. I would be more than happy to share with all of you that list, and I think that the solution to this is for all of us to band together.
Okay, yeah, send me that list and then I'll put it in the comments so that everyone can check it out.
We'll do. I mean,
Cool.
that's actually a good solution. I'll use you as a conduit for all these different programs that's being utilized right now, and then that'd be great if you could blast it to everybody.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Jim. All right. Hey, Lyle, I'm gonna mute you. Lyle from SIPA down there. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah. So, for those that don't know, Lyle is the executive director of SIPA down in LA, community organizers. So this is just impromptu. So, Lyle, what's going on in LA with the community? What are
a lot of things are going on here. So right now, actively to help support the local businesses, we've partnered up with another organization called FelpMe. It's PHELPME.com. And they put together like a Google map of like over 150 plus like bars, restaurants, cafes in the Southern California area. So to drive people to some of the, like whatever's closest to them, a lot of the community here is using that as a guide. SIPA, as far as our organization, unfortunately, we had to freeze a lot of our daily programs that we do. For those of you that are not familiar with SIPA, SIPA has been around for about 48 years. We are really known for 3 pillars of service, which is health and human services, economic development, and arts and culture. And right now, it's actually delayed 10 days, but we're demolishing our current offices, 3200 West Temple, to build our 3rd affordable housing complex, which will be 64 units that will be servicing seniors, veterans within our community. Our largest affordable housing complex is 76 units. 70% of the occupants are Filipino immigrants. That's 1, 2, 3 bedroom apartments, also in historic Filipino town. But yeah, right now, because we're demolishing and where we're moving won't be ready since they put a hold on everything here until April 19th. We're just like you guys. So everyone, was actually committed to staying inside their residence. We're still able to actually go out and, besides getting essentials, we could go hiking or, do some physical activity. But other than that, it's like a ghost town here in LA. So like, and surprisingly, actually I'm not surprised, but air quality is a lot better. So it's pretty pretty interesting what's going down here. But really, I'm here, obviously not only to support Christian and you guys, but to be a better neighbor and see how we could build together from north to south, up and down the state.
All right, cool. Thank you. So I put in your website. Do you have any like online webinars or anything that you're gonna do soon?
Right now we have a colleague that is a disease specialist at the CDC. So stay tuned. Like we'll make an announcement that on our social media and website as well. But that should be coming up next week.
Yeah.
I don't have all the details just yet, but yeah,
Okay.
stay tuned.
So that's sepacares.org.
Yeah.
Then SEPA you can find on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Thanks everyone. So I am going to show a video from my friend Jason Paul Laksamana, and let me show this. This is something that is coming soon. Hold on, let me share this again. Make sure I do it right. Hold on. Okay. So this is short. Yeah, so there. That is something that is coming soon. Jason Paul Laksamana, he is known for making a bunch of rom-coms with Ann Curtis. And so after he made his money and all of that, he wants to do something that is more culturally relevant. And so he's starting out with comics. The first one is going to come as Anitu, and it's about culturally traditional culture, and in Pampanga. So that's coming out later this year, and it's going to be in animation, comic books, toys, the whole nine. So, and this is a world premiere. So I don't even think he released it yet in the Philippines, because he was going to show it at the Comic-Con in Manila. So looking forward to that. Okay, next, Escabran, Joseph. All right, I muted you.
Hello, how are you guys?
Yo, all right. So just intro, Escabudaan. I've known Joseph for probably about like 10 years or over 10 years, and do a lot of community work. So I will let you intro, what you do, brief intro about Escabudaan, and then some of the work that you've been doing over the past few years, and how you're pivoting due to the current environment. Take it away.
All right, yeah. No, thank you for having us. So, Escabudaan, we just celebrated 10 years here in San Francisco in November. We are a Filipino martial arts school that is standalone. We're not a school that rents out of another place. We want to make a stand to show that Filipino martial arts exist and that we can make it on our own. Because it saddened us when we were in the Philippines in 2007, when our Grandmaster was getting promoted to Grandmaster in the Philippines. we were in Manila, like 10 Filipino Americans went to Luneta Park and was asking people, where can we see a Filipino martial arts school? And Filipinos in the Philippines were telling us, we don't have an art. There's no martial art. Oh, you mean karate? Like, no, Filipino martial arts. They said, no, we don't have it. Then we finally found people in the park training. And we came back home and we're like, why isn't Filipino martial arts on the main scale, even in the Philippines? And so that's one thing that kind of pushed us to try to create a school here in the Bay Area. And we've been able to do it over the last 10 years. So currently, physically, we teach out of San Francisco, Daly City, Oakland, and Hercules. We try to help out the community as much as we can in terms of demoing for the PCN, Galing Bata. We'll do anytime a cultural event happens and we're asked to show up, we will do it as long as we can, as much as we can. And in these times, we've had to take our training online, and it's totally different because, martial arts is very hands-on, and I'm not very tech savvy. I would much rather dig a ditch than be on a computer all day. But I found that I've had to do classes online in these recent times, and it's really totally different in that sense. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. We're just trying to figure out how to teach the Filipino martial arts online in a way where we still try to teach the participants some Tagalog, some Filipino history and everything, because the reason why I got into Filipino martial arts is my grandparents came here in 1919. I actually don't even understand the language. A lot of the Filipinos I grew up around, we don't know anything about being Filipino. We had no pride in being Filipino. A lot of us actually didn't even identify as Filipino because we had no reason or want desire to be Filipino. And I learned about Filipino martial arts. I got introduced to everyone here. Got introduced to the babayan, got introduced to the tattoo, got introduced to dancing. And I started to get some pride in being Filipino. And I believe that our generation and anyone that wants to learn should have that available to them. And for me personally, I learned that through Filipino martial arts. So that is my vehicle to be able to pass on to the next generation.
Okay. And so what have you been doing now? Like, because you work with kids too. So I saw last week or the other day. No, the other day you were doing your first Zoom class with kids. How's that? You hear me, Joseph?
Yes. So there was some lag, but I believe you were asking about the kids classes. Yes.
Yeah.
We do teach kids, and it is really a group effort because there are actually people within our Escalbo community that I will ask about, hey, what Tagalog word should I teach and how do I properly say it? Which actually comes into a big debate because if I ask, how do you say sit down? I get a couple different answers of how to say it. Or how do you say line up or make a circle, right? There's like a debate over what words should be used in the class. But yeah, we do teach kids, and I try to implement as much Tagalog as possible. Left, right, stand up, sit down, line up, make a circle. And I'm trying to get more and more, but right now we're having a hard time actually coming to terms on which words should be used for the kids in that sense. And it's still a work in progress. So yeah, so if anyone has any advice on how to teach the kids, how to format for the kids, I'm more than willing to listen to you guys. And I always ask everywhere I go, hey, what do you think? What do you think? Tell me what you know. I want to be able to implement it because it is for the next generation. And I've been getting a lot of calls from people just around the nation about can their kids join online, especially now that classes are online. And I want to be able to offer it to this community here that I was thinking about how it's extremely hard to have a cultural business. It's even harder to have a cultural business during these times. And I believe everyone here, there are, how many of us here? There's 67 of us here. And I was thinking, how can we help each other? And for the people here, for the business owners and whatnot, I want to be able to offer that to help keep you guys sane and your family members sane, and to help support the business as much as I can from here at home. If there's anybody that helps support your business, I will give them a free membership online for them to train for as long as we're online. If we're doing class, if we're in this COVID shelter for a year, then so be it. As long as they're supporting you and your business, then I will support them training. You know, the biggest thing for us was, you know, to be able to have space for the kids to swing and enough instructors to make sure they're safe. But if they're at home, I don't have to worry about my instructors getting hurt or other kids getting hurt. It's just themselves and their family, right? So yeah, if anyone is interested in collaborating in this effort, just reach out to me. I can put down my email address on the chat, and you determine what you would want for your products or services, and I'll just say yes, you know, whatever the case may be, you know. But I will make a list of people that want to be a part of this collaboration, and I will honor whatever it is you decide.
Cool. No, thanks, Joseph. I think that's that's great. And Skabodan, they've always been you know, groundbreaking and collaborating with different disciplines. So, you know, with myself, Bayani Art, we've, you know, almost everyone here has worked with the Skabodan, you know, and there's not that many orgs that can say that. So that's cool. Are you doing classes? Are you keeping your original schedule? I mean, what are some techniques? Because
yeah,
you know, because you have to keep your membership, right? And I assume, you know, you have your rent that, you know, in Polk Street. How does that go with this? Are you guys like saying, hey, you know, we may not be able to pay our rent? Like, how do those conversations happen as a business owner?
Yeah, so we've had a number of students who have unfortunately lost their jobs. And, you know, we're big on the community, so it's just do what you can. So we've offered for the whole household to be able to train, because you're together. And if there's anything we can do to help out, like in this case, if I know a person that has a business that is struggling because they can't do their business online, in a sense, we'll try to brainstorm and figure out how the SCABO as an organization can help out. And that's what led to the idea of, hey, you know, if they're supporting your business, I'll support them. Because I know, like a lot of other businesses, especially in the food industry, you have a lot of non-durable goods that can only last X amount of time, whereas I'm just teaching, right? We have our classes 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. It's a lot harder than being in person, what I found, but it's still totally worth it, because I understand that everyone is looking for a way to keep their kids productive, energized, and just active, right? And for a lot of parents, when we teach our classes, it's their break from their own kids, right? Which is totally understandable. Or for other parents, they actually train together, which is the absolute goal of what I want to see, is whole families training together. That's the epitome of what I think martial arts should be, is whole families training together.
Okay, no, that's great. Thanks, Joseph. So yeah, so there's some links that are in the chat, and I'm gonna compile. Someone suggested that I'm gonna compile all the links and I'll put them on the website and put it out there for everybody. All right, is there anything else, Joseph, you wanted to kind of pass along? Nope. Okay, cool. All right. So next up, so I'm gonna play a video that will intro our next folks that are speaking. All right, let's see. All right, so Bayani Arts.
Hi everyone. Can y'all hear me okay? Yeah? Good. Okay. Thank you, Christian, for putting this conference together, regardless of everything going on with COVID-19. Events like this is hella important for our community to really come together, especially during this time with everything going on around Asians and Asian Americans being discriminated against because of COVID-19. So thank you. This is really necessary for our community to really come together. So just a little bit about me. My name is Robin Katana Kilazan. I'm Bayani Art's workshop coordinator and also their public relations, and Bayani Art is my family's business. Outside of Bayani Art, I'm a student at SF State, and I also teach at Balboa High School through Pinoy Pinay Educational Partnerships. I'm just like looking at the comments, I'm sorry, but I teach through Pinoy Pinay Educational Partnerships, and I teach Filipino studies and ethnic studies at the high school level. And so yeah, so Bayani Art, we've been around for 10 years, so a decade now, and it took a long time for our family to really like get to where we are today. But we're a Filipino clothing company, and our main goal is to create products that raise awareness. So raising awareness of our history so people can be empowered by our history. Because when you learn about like the centuries of resilience our people have gone through, it's really empowering to understand who you are. So our main thing is really storytelling through art, storytelling in a way that engages people. And so, yeah, just storytelling through history and art. And so in the last few years, we've really been expanding outside of just t-shirts. So we've been doing workshops to educate our people about our history. We've been creating murals, one at Stanford University. And one of my like favorite projects that we had last year was our Kalinga earring project with Brown Girls, which is another Filipino company. And we also work annually with the A, so we've really been expanding outside of just t-shirts. And so we've always had this idea to create books. Our initial idea was to create a chapter book with all the Bayani on it. And we've been thinking about this for like years now. And then we wanted to, we kind of strayed away from that, and we wanted to create children's book instead. And it was really about access. So yes, it's a children's book, but we wanted to speak in a language that's accessible for everyone, that everyone can understand. This is for everyone, not just children. And we wanted to tell our story in a way that engages people through art and through visuals. So not just a chapter book that like even I would get bored of reading it, honestly, but a children's book that really tells our story in a way that engages not just children, but everybody. And for me, so Bayani Art is a collaborative effort. So it's a family business. So it's me, my dad, and my cousin AJ, who's also on this call right now. But for me, everyone has different meanings, or like this book project means everything like different for everybody. But for me, it was really combining everything I love, which is history, storytelling, art, and education. And so connecting those dots, I realized like this is more than just a book project. This is really like my legacy, my family's legacy, and our people's history and their legacy as well, the legacy of our ancestors. So just to go a little bit more into the project that y'all just saw, so we're raising funds to produce these books. So we're self-publishing, and the funds go to publishing and printing the books, and also paying our artists or writers and editors. And like I said earlier, Bayani Art is a collaborative effort. So everything that we do and produce, it's with the community. And so it's not just me creating this book, it's not just my dad, it's our whole community involved with this process. Y'all saw we got survival arts to be part of our book. So we like get everybody involved in the community as much as we can. So we're creating a 4-part children's book series. You all saw Gabriella C. Long. So we had a lot of time, actually, with everything going on. We had a lot of time to finish Gabriella C. Long. So she was our first book that we completed. But right after, we're working on Lapu Lapu, Andres Bonifacio, and then Jose Rizal. And in the future, we hope to really animate this project. So taking it outside, like a step further than just books, to make animation from this. Visit our website at bayaniart.com. Check out our Instagram at bayaniart. Like and share our GoFundMe. And yeah, every share and like really matters, and it really counts towards this project because it's a community collaborative effort. Yeah.
Where's Joe?
He's not here right now.
Why? He's out and about gallivanting?
He's gallivanting.
I'm supposed to. Okay. So I'll put you on the spot. So how are you guys kind of like kind of pivoting this based on, because a lot of it is, like we do events, we do like over 10 events a year, um, and online sales. How are you guys kind of like trying to pivot? Is it, gonna communicate, or I mean, make more digital products, or what's kind of the plan?
Well, like I said, we try to get a lot of people involved in this project. So we've worked with survival arts. We plan on working with Escabodan to with the book too. So getting the community involved with this process. We have different editors from around the nation to also look at this book. So just bringing everybody together for this project. If anyone has looked at our GoFundMe, we also hit several updates so people can see, they can also be a part of this process. So it's not just us. We want to get everybody involved. And through those updates, people are able to see where we're at and our progress with everything.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Where? Natalia. Okay. Natalia, hey, can you talk? I unmuted you.
Hold on.
Okay. Natalia and M.
Well, it's mostly.
Yeah.
That's what happens. What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
All right. So what are you going to talk about today?
Well,
or intro yourself.
Yeah, intro me first. What is this, huh?
I don't know. I see almost every day, but not anymore.
I know.
Okay.
So I'm Natalia Rojas, for part of Filipino Kitchen, but currently been working with Manong Lane Wilkin and as well as Christian Kabuay, doing batok or tattooing. So I mostly handle a lot of the scheduling. I also stretch, and I'm also an apprentice to Manong Lane, learning the practice. So what I wanted to talk about is basically how we can, support, well, basically, as Joseph have said, and even House of Gongs with Ron and Lydia have said, a lot of our work as cultural practitioners are face-to-face. We cannot do tattooing virtually. Unfortunately, I mean, we can try, but that would really suck. So, and it's actually just a side note. I know a bunch of people here have gotten work from Manong Lane, so it's actually really cool to be in a space to see everybody. And I see a couple people there that I have helped stretch for. So hello, everybody. Currently, I am in Oakland with at the M, but I will actually be making my way to Las Vegas because one of the things that we are working on with with Manong Lane is we're building out our studio that will be our school. So I know a couple years ago when it was Christian, Dave, Kare, Nicanor, were the ones who's heavily with Manong Lane. They have this school named Katao Living Traditions, in which we're going to start using that again, as we're going to be a school of living tradition. We're building out a studio for us to learn, for us to, either work on tools, tools, do research, accept appointments, lessen the travel. As you can see, this lovely situation that we're in has really affected our work, and we have had to do a couple cancellations or postponements, rescheduling of the places that we're supposed to be going, including speaking engagements for Manong Lane. So building a studio and kind of gonna be transitioning into having the work primarily either in here in Oakland or in Las Vegas, just to lessen the travel, be considerate of also Manong Lane has a family. So, he wants to be with his family as much as he can. So that would be something for us apprentices as well to go to and centralize ourselves to do the work and learn. So that is one of the big projects that we have been working on. Christian and I have built a platform, and just do that. And those are one of the things for anybody who is here that has been in correspondence with me in getting an appointment with Manong Lane. The easiest way to go to is like just go to his website. I am the one who responds to that. And as for us tackling and really being conscientious of our process with people, this type of work, we can never, pardon my language if there's any children around, we can never fuck up. Like, we can never risk anything to get anybody sick at all. Anywhere from our cleaning protocols, which is 13 steps, 13 to 15 steps. That includes really a lot of work to do. So from that to keeping our hands clean to everything, to even just like walking in here and being in a space and the host of anybody, we take that super seriously, even way before this whole thing has happened. So, you know, if there's anything that I would always say as a cultural practitioner, there are three things that we're supposed to be. The core of it is we have to be physically healthy, mentally healthy, and spiritually healthy, or else it's really hard to do this work in anything, whether it's tattooing, music, martial arts. If you are not those three things, then it's really tough to do this type of work. So in lieu of that, we are currently still strategizing on how we're going to be able to do the work, how we're going to be strategizing to put together something. It can be in a form of Manong doing talks, because you know that he is, you know, a wealth of knowledge. A lot of you know this. He has a bunch of things that he can go talk about. So we can either do that, we can go do, I don't know. We're still in the terms of just like thinking things through right now. So, but for now, all appointments up to May is currently being rescheduled or being postponed right now until a lot of our situation has been cleared up.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Natalia. Em, you want to add anything? If everyone doesn't know Em is
No, if anything, I also support, along with Joseph, in regards to the martial arts. I'm also a martial arts practitioner as well too. And also, if anything, hosting Manong Lane and Natalia when they're here for any type of their, I guess, their appointments and such. So it's been, you know, if we can just keep this going with the help of everyone, with the support of everyone, it'd be really great. And, you know, we're all going to get past this one way or another, but we will get past it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you. All right. Aaron, are you on? I'm going to unmute you. Aaron. Aaron, are you there?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I have like two screens going on.
Yes.
So thank you for doing this, Christian. This is awesome. I think everyone that's suffering through coronavirus, it's tough for a lot of folks. Shout out to all the nurses who are Pinay that are, you know, really supporting our community. So folks that don't know me, claims to fame. So I used to work a lot in civic engagement. My previous boss was Congressman Ro Khanna, who's the co-chair of the Bernie Sanders campaign. I used to do marketing communications for Filipinos for Obama. I transitioned to tech. I founded a nonprofit called Filipino Americans in STEAM, called FASTER, which I've had the privilege of Christian helping serve on the board as an advisor for, and working on, if we ever get to it, virtual reality and bite buy-in. But my announcements here today, so actually, is it okay if I screen share, Christian, because I have hella stuff?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Is that cool? I'm just gonna walk through these, and I know not everyone here, you know, works in tech. Can I do this with, let me just see this. I'm using Brave, which is a the blockchain browser, so it's not really can folks see this at all? I don't know if anyone can see my screen right now.
No, not yet.
No.
No.
No. Okay, that's probably not gonna work because I forgot to use Chrome. But I'm just gonna paste my giant announcements here. Also, quick question: is Julian Davina still here? I wanted them to plug an announcement for their work of what they're doing. On
Julian, yeah. Julian, you can unmute yourself. Everybody can unmute themselves.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just paste their announcement first before I get to mine. And Julian Davina used to work at Oculus, which is owned by Facebook, which is a virtual reality company. Davina, do you want to talk first?
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, hey,
Bernard. I'll go through mine announcements for faster after.
They might not be on, but yeah.
No, they're on. They're there.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Julian is here also. We'll be together. Hold on.
Yeah. So there's a couple intersections here. We have like community, folks in the technology space.
I don't know.
With Aaron, Davina, and Julian. They're actually my neighbors here.
Yeah, you're okay. What do you want?
All right. Are you guys good? Davina?
Hey, hi, this is Julian.
Hey, Julian.
Is my video on?
No, it's not.
Okay, well, I look kind of messy. I'm just gonna talk, okay, guys? So, I've just been making like a bunch of like websites for fun, and I saw a bunch of people organizing to help fill a gap. Yesterday, I tried to order groceries, and I saw on TaskRabbit the prices were turning into like $100 a delivery. And it's crazy, man. You shouldn't have to spend $100 to deliver. And what if you're like at home and you're an old person or you're at risk? You shouldn't have to be put through this like economic ringer, So basically, I saw a couple people doing this in New York, and I put together the San Francisco version of it. I'm looking for volunteers that are healthy, that are practicing social distancing, that are willing to fulfill deliveries in their neighborhood of people that are at risk. And I'm organizing it on safefoodsf.com and also on safefooddailycity.com.
Can you post that in the chat, Julian?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you post that in the chat?
Oh yeah, I'll post that. But so yeah, if you feel like you're able and you're engaging, able to go shopping for other people or little errands, there are, a lot of people in our community that are locked down, and just going out for them is way higher risk than it is for you. So I think the path through this might be us, bridging get networks within our own communities between the people who can do it safely to helping the people that are more at risk. So I'll post that in the link, and thank you guys if you can share it. I want to grow it as much as I can and see if we can help people.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Julian. All right, Aaron, you wanna go?
I wanted to show my giant Google Doc, but I think my browser is just crap. So I'm gonna post a bunch of stuff in the chat. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I posted Julian Davina's safefoodsf.com, safefooddailycity.com. I know Davina was on the phone with Vice Mayor Justin Manalo, and I texted her and Ray Buenaventura, who used to be the mayor of Daly City. So they're aware, of the situation, just because we don't want our communities paying, up the ass for delivery. I think that's ridiculous, especially in these times with price gouging. So faster, I'm going to paste our organization. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. Jim Harvey from Manila Bowl had wanted to host us, I think, for another event on entrepreneurship. The broader question I have here before the announcements is like, how are your businesses moving online? How can we help? We're a national nonprofit, so we have chapters here in the Bay Area, as a founding chapter, Los Angeles and New York. If folks want to reply with that, like, I'm not sure if folks have mobile apps for the people who have small businesses. let me know. Send me a message. I have my email. I think I pasted on here. We're going to be like moving a lot of stuff to different tech committee heads to help, with coronavirus efforts specifically. The one thing I'll plug, which I do not have a link for yet, I actually had a call about this earlier. So if you have graduating seniors in college, we're in touch with the Filipino Channel University, as well as, I guess right now, NAFA, Subtle Filipino Tech. So a lot of the students who are currently mostly online, not in class, some that are trying to figure out work, really helping them beef up, whether it's a portfolio project, resume, etc. So we're doing sort of like a national workshop for that. In the past, we've had different workshops for, technical stuff for engineers or student engineers, people who want to be able to land internships and jobs. And with the economy being so horrible, it makes it harder for I think youth to be able to be employed. So at least myself and Christian Dolores, who's our LA chapter, he's the head of legal operations at Technicolor. He had said, well, we both graduated into the recession. It was really hard for us in 2008 and 2009. This is even worse with the global, health pandemic. So, we want to make sure to offer at least services, because I think, for a lot of our communities that are in college, they may have a technical skill set, whether they're engineers or designers, marketing, etc. They may be the wage earners for their family that they're hoping, if they had taken out student loans to graduate, need to have something. We're there, and we actually work with TFCU and their Collective Hustle mentorship program. So about 50 to 60% of the mentors actually come from Faster. Not everyone has a quote unquote technical background, like majoring in computer science. A lot of us that are on the board in tech did not come in a traditional path. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to plug, which I'd asked for permission. I'm not inviting the media yet. Oh, sorry. I think I had pasted, my bad, to
Is there anything, Aaron, can you talk about like, we were supposed to do like a big, Faster's like a lot of events and networking.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Kind of like what we're doing, or to kind of pivot into kind of our temporary spaces now.
Yeah, so before that, I do want to plug one last thing. I'm not sure if everyone's heard of it. We're our friends, Greg Sandana from APALA, Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance, and DJ Cuttin Candy, who's one of the Panay DJs from New York, historic. They're organizing an anti-Asian racism, not downhill, town hall. Sorry, I'm so tired, you guys. So that's on Facebook. Before I get to announcements from the Philippine government who are asking me about recruiting engineers to help them or stuff with drones, for us, we're trying to do our conference. Originally was supposed to be at, I think, a combination between Facebook, Netflix, or Salesforce at this point, but we hold an annual conference that initially was for students and having professionals teach students how to get into tech. We want it to be broader this year, so we're having that be national. Obviously that's October, but we're about to at least announce a final date for that outside of the education workshop in April. We've had requests from people to do monthly Zoom calls, which I'm hoping would probably start later in as early as May, and this would be open to community. So for folks that are, small business entrepreneurs, folks who are, high tech entrepreneurs, having some sort of matching program there, not just people who are, raising money in venture capital to, have an online business. I think it's really important that, we're inclusive of everyone in the community that are small business entrepreneurs as well as high tech entrepreneurs. The other two would be for our employee resource groups, Faster Pros. So a lot of the people who are at tech companies that have groups there, as well as independent professionals. So I'm not sure if folks know this. There's because I know a lot of people here don't necessarily work in tech, but maybe looking for other technical help, FilipinosForward.com. So there's an active Slack channel. I know it's run by George Diaz from, he's a UC Davis alumnus that's used to be a front-end engineer designer. There's a lot of consultants on there that are always, looking to do community work, also looking for clients. So if people do need, if you need a website or you need apps or other things you need help with to build for your business, I would point there, just because our organization's a little less active on the daily on Slack, but they're very active. So we are actually trying to partner before with George's consultancy, and they'd started an event called it was Subtle, what is it? Not Subtle, Filipino X Tech, which actually was housed at I guess their last event was at WeWork, and originally we're supposed to have an event with General Assembly for Pride Month and Filipino Independence Day, but unfortunately, due to coronavirus stuff, we had to cancel a bunch of things. So there's a bunch of things in the pipeline, not all confirmed yet, but if folks do want to get in touch with me, my email's there. You can like our Facebook page, Twitter, IG, it's at FasterSteam. We'll be posting once we have confirmed dates for that. And then the last two things, which I know not everyone here works in tech, these are actually from the nice people in the Philippine government. I know a lot of people here don't like the Philippine government for a lot of reasons, including myself, but these are the cool people from Department of Trade and Industry. They actually just sent me a request for technology experts for DevCon. And then the second one was if people had suggestions, ideas, proposals for mitigating whatever's going down in the Philippines. I think one of them had something with like a proposal for drones to monitor like temperature and climate in different regions. And then if you have other people that work in like some people who are nurses, some of our membership actually has nurses who've become engineers or that study nursing and analysis. So it's like a new kind of major that we've had people pop up on. But if people have any sort of technical skills at all, there's broader organizations that are looking for people who are making data visualizations and dashboards. A lot of the time, if you see in the media that's there's a lot of like shit that's just inaccurate, that lies, whether it's talking about parts of Asia, the Philippines, Filipino Americans, Asian Americans. So those are like general announcements. I think the most important for people to know about in the immediate would probably be the anti-Asian racism town hall that Candy and Gregor are organizing. And then on the student tip, which we'll post about, we just have to get an official date from the students, would be for April for those that are looking for jobs. And then everything else is sort of like TBD for the entrepreneurs and the professionals. I know that's going to be really important this year as we build for FasterCon in October. It's usually the second weekend every October that we have it. And whether or not you identify as tech, you are welcome to come. Anyone that's all self-identified Filipino American is welcome to any of our events online or in person. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Aaron. All right. So Mark, are you on? I can unmute you, Mark. Mark Calaguas from Chicago. Are you here? Hold on. Mark?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, cool. Want to give us an intro and give some updates?
All right. Well, Christian kind of asked me if I wanted to talk about what's going on in Chicago, like literally like 10 minutes ago. So let me just try to like pull my thoughts together. So I kind of wear a bunch of different hats. So I'm on the board here locally of AFIRE, which is the Alliance of Filipinos for Immigrant Rights and Empowerment. We're a grassroots community org. We've been around since about 2006. And we serve to mobilize youth, seniors, undocumented folks, and especially now recently domestic workers to exercise their political rights. And recently, we've been working on the 2020 census, basically coordinating the Filipino American Complete Count Committee here in Chicago and trying to educate our community, which has been historically undercounted, why it's important to respond to the census. So for about the past month and a half, we've been training volunteers to go out and canvass into the neighborhoods, to visit the local businesses and hit up the community events, the social events, to let people know that it's really important to respond to the census. It's safe, it's confidential, and it means, everything from funding public services your local community, political representation, and just giving basic info to business owners, to make their kind of everyday decisions. Obviously, the virus has really dealt a blow to our organizing efforts. I mean, we are straight up community organizing. We have monthly meetings. We're very intergenerational. Our community organizers are just, a couple years out of college, and they're very eager and mobilized. And a lot of our rank and file members are seniors and domestic workers. And last Sunday we had scheduled a public event, which we had to cancel, and now we're having to move things online. So at the end of the month and into early to mid-April, we're going to be doing kind of more shorter little kind of Facebook Live or Instagram Live videos, but again, educating the public about the census, and we'll be working with our local community partners here. It's been tough. Illinois just issued a shelter-in-place order today, and so somebody mentioned Filipino restaurants. We have quite a few of those here in Chicago. Right now, like a lot of other establishments, they're doing delivery and takeout. So I'm not aware of any organized efforts to support them other than, word of mouth, and just sharing information about that. I'll move on to the national front. So my day job, I'm an attorney. So I'm also on the board of of NFALA, the National Filipino American Lawyers Association. We also do a lot of, in-person meeting and planning. So this has also been a challenge for us. But so far, we've been involved in some of the advocacy campaigns to push back on anti-Asian racism and bigotry from the general public, but disturbingly from our government as well. So we've been consistent for the last, month or two as the virus kind of exploded in working with our partners, national partners, such as the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, that's NAPABA, also NCAPA, which is the National Council of APAs. So we've been making public statements and also issuing, communications to elected officials, telling them this is reprehensible, China virus, all this stuff, and that it has a direct impact on the lives of Asian Americans on the ground. So NFALA, we're still trying to determine what our kind of national strategy is, but we are a network of 15 affiliates, and so a lot of it's going to come down to the our local bar organizations. So, for example, I know a lot of y'all are out there in the Bay. So the Filipino Bar Association of Northern California, FBank, they've sprung into action pretty quickly starting last week. They're doing pro bono efforts. A lot of folks are losing their jobs, so they're going to need help with unemployment claims and people filing benefits and kind of exercising their rights. And so just Google or go to fbank.org. Also, you can, they're all on all the big social media platforms. You can find out kind of the direct services they're providing. They're working with the California Department of Labor. I'm not sure, I forgot what the acronym is, but the current president is the general counsel for that agency. So they've got a direct line, and they're there to kind of help people who've found themselves in this unfortunate situation. And on the Chicago side, we have a local chapter here, Follow Chicago, where we also have pro bono services. That's all moving online. So as soon as you know, we have that information available for people who are low income to access those services, will definitely kind of spread the word. So yeah, right now it's sort of the situation, you know, as of tonight, Saturday evening.
Cool. Thanks, Mark. So I'm going to share the results of the poll before we go, and kind of at this point, I think everyone that wanted to speak or that reached out prior. So just some of the things that I see, like connecting, donation-based, cultivating, centering, interdependence, relief, very low income, Thursday class, what are other things? Promote, teaching, etc. So speaking of teaching, do we have any, I know we have some teachers on here. Do we have any teachers that kind of want to speak on what they're going through? Do we have any? I saw somebody in here. Bernard. Yeah, you could unmute yourself, Bernard. I'll unmute you.
Yeah, so I'm a teacher in two spaces. So I'm the music director for the Samahan Filipino American Performing Arts and Education Center in San Diego, and the artistic director of the Pakaragyan Kolintang Ensemble. I am also an adjunct faculty at two community colleges, Miramar College and Miracosta College. Right now, we're all going virtually online. Thankfully enough, I received my online teaching certificate. So I've been teaching through the Canvas medium. But in terms of, you know, promoting Philippine cultural arts, it set us back here in San Diego down big time. We had to postpone several events. I'm sure it's across the board all over the United States. And what happened to us is we actually applied for some California Arts Council grants, and we're at the moment looking for to possibly extending our grant period because of these unforeseen circumstances. And so what I've actually been doing is scheduling remote virtual Kolintang lessons. I was talking to Ron about this privately, so I basically have told some of the members of my group, and if anyone else is interested, I've been teaching on via FaceTime and Google Chat. So I think this whole pandemic has got us living in our homes and, you know, taking a break from everything. And so we're still, many of our events are pending at the moment. And so we all have to transfer to like teaching virtually in terms of online academia. So that's what's going on over here at the moment. And then I'm also the recipient of the Alliance for California Tradition of the Arts. We received a fellowship because I applied to continue teaching the late Guru Danny Kalanduyan's granddaughter, Kim Kalanduyan, continuing her Lolo's legacy. And we're actually going to be live streaming through ACTA. So tune in on that this coming Friday. So we're going to play some Kolintang music because, you know, we're also the sibling group of Hog. So we're continuing, you know, Guru Danny's legacy, the Maguindanao, Maranao, and even some of my research from my native practitioners from the Sama Tausug from Cebu. So one way
do you have a link for that, Bernard? Can you post it in the chat?
The link
for Friday
for live stream. Okay, let me see.
Yeah,
if I can upload the ACTA.
Cool.
But first off, let me upload our nonprofit organization that I'm with, Samahan Filipino American Performing Arts and Education Center. There we are. All right. And then let me access the ACTA.
Okay. The ACTA is this Friday, you said?
Yes, okay. At noon.
At noon? Oh, noon Pacific?
Yeah, noon Pacific.
Cool. All right. Cool. Thanks, Bernard.
Uh-huh.
All right. Tracy, are you there? Tracy Noriega. Let me unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. But hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi,
All right.
everyone.
All yours.
Thanks, Christian, for putting all of this together. Hi, all. My name is Tracy Noriega. I'm the president of FAAC, which is the Filipino American Educators Association of California. Since we're talking about education, just wanted to give you an update on, I guess, what's happening with schools. Some of you heard Governor Newsom kind of freak out all the parents the other day about maybe schools not coming back until the fall. And honestly, we don't know that yet. I know our school district here in Union City, here up in the Bay, we're still planning for a return on April 8th, pending guidance from the California Department of Ed. And so I know a lot of parents are trying to figure out what to do with their kids from now until however long this takes. So, you know, for folks that have kids in kindergarten or TK through 12th grade, there's a lot of things probably happening. Just speaking for my district alone and for the teachers that I know around the state, we're all in different states just because the equity and access issue, right? A lot of, you know, we're trying to move to this online instruction, and like Bernard said, you know, there's a skill to teaching online. I mean, I'm an adjunct professor as well, and I've been teaching online for 5 years, and it's not the greatest. So for those folks that don't necessarily or always teach that way, there's definitely some professional development and training that's involved. So we take that into account as well. But I think the bigger thing is, you know, will all of our kids have access to a device? Do they all have internet? You know, are there parents at home that can, you know, do things with their kids? Are they helping to take care of siblings? I mean, there's so many things that are happening each and every individual home that, you know, for our district, especially, we've tried to create activities that would involve the whole family, and then also not be device or internet dependent. So, you know, depending on what schools your kids go to, and if they haven't put anything out, then just know that things are forthcoming, because we're really trying to figure that out. Once, you know, things are kind of up and running, we are FAAC, Filipino American Educators Association of California. We have been involved in a few projects, so there are things that are forthcoming from us. We just finished creating a video with the Sacramento County Office of Education to highlight the curriculum work we've been doing for Assembly Bill 123, specifically Filipinos in the farm labor movement. We actually have, through the Bulasan Center at UC Davis, some free lesson plans, and parents are absolutely welcome to that. I'll post that in the chat. Dr. Robin Rodriguez, she's the chair of the Asian American Studies Department, and the Bulasan Center. Those are all free to the public. The Bataan Legacy Historical Society, we wrote lesson plans for World War II in the Philippines. You know, folks are welcome to that as well, if you want things to do or just want to be able to read up on that. But again, if you are, you know, if you have a kid in the K through 12 system and they're at home with you, so many things to do that don't necessarily read devices. I know some of the lesson plans I wrote was to interview family members, right? Grab those stories, record them, write them, have the kids write it from their perspectives. And we talk about how we haven't documented our stories enough. And, you know, shout out to Bayani Art and former student Robin, because it's amazing, amazing, amazing work. And I only wish I had those books when I was growing up. So document our stories. It's kind of an opportune time to do that, you know, in the state. So thanks for letting me talk a little bit, and I hope everyone is taking care of themselves.
Cool. Thanks, Tracy. Anyone? Yeah, everyone can unmute yourself. But so before, you know, I wanted it like 2 hours max. I know there's a lot, but I mean, what else are we gonna do? So I personally, I think that this was just as a test, and as there was a lot of folks, you know, just calling like I think more than probably like 75% of the people that spoke was on the fly. So I think that's kind of cool. And, I want to like say like I'm glad that there's some folks from the Philippines too, because I was thinking about maybe doing. Oh wait, someone wants to talk. Need to be. Yeah, sure. Let me just finish this line, but I'm planning to do maybe once a week, maybe like Friday nights, a Zoom. Not necessarily like scheduled things or whatever, but could be just be a hangout, maybe like a happy hour or something. Personally, I'm gonna go live every night on Instagram at 7 starting Monday to do stuff. But my my goal with this too is to also get folks familiar with this streaming platforms, because regardless of the COVID virus and the situation we're in right now, that we should add this to our arsenal as like educators, cultural practitioners, etc., because it's a new literacy. So I think that we should be able to kind of be familiar with it, or somebody from our crew to be familiar with it, right? You could be old school like Joe from Bayani Art, or Ray, the two old school dudes, but you get the kids that will run all the technology and all of that. So I think it's about having like that diverse set of within your circle that can help with this and kind of push it forward. Yeah, so right now I think it's kind of free for all. You feel free, you should be able to unmute yourself if you want to add anything, and go for it.
Peace. My name is Nita B. I wanted to talk about the village here in
Yeah.
Oakland. Thank you for organizing this. I'm learning a lot of stuff and like seeing a lot of intersections. It's pretty awesome and crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about the village in Oakland.
So we're a grassroots volunteer-run network and movement. We're a network of allies who are housed in a movement of organizing unhoused folks on the ground. And we work with different levels in the community to help our unhoused brothers and sisters. We've had 4 villages here in Oakland. 3 of them have been bulldozed by the city. The longest standing one was a year and a half. And we also, because of the way the city treats homeless people, we have 7 civil rights lawsuits happening. But right now with this coronavirus, don't believe what you hear them say about these hotels. Yes, there's hotels in these different cities across California, and I'm trying to get information about other states. I'm gonna assume it's gonna be the same in other states using empty cities. But with the hotels that the governor and maybe the mayors are saying, those are for when people get sick. They're not trying to stop people from getting sick. They're letting people squalor. And so my daughter, I was talking to her, she's 17. I asked her about what she thought. She was, she has her own eyes, and so she sees stuff. And she was saying the kind of setbacks that she sees people seeing is that all the recycling centers are closing. And that's really the main source of income for folks who are not doing criminal activity too, or to not have to do criminal activity, is recycling. And they shut down the recycling centers. People have literally lost their complete form of income like everyone else. And the services of sanitation is not really happening like it needs to. But we're still gathering food for folks, and be of interest. I don't know how many people here are from Oakland or live in Oakland, but East 12 Funktown, where my family hails from, there's a huge Southeast Asian population, and we're mixed. Every race, even like Croatians live out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, but there's a huge East Asian population, including Filipinos, and that's who's homeless in that neighborhood. But a majority of people who are homeless in Oakland are Black, because Oakland used to be the chocolate city of the West. But I encourage folks to find out more if you want to hear about what's happening on the ground with coronavirus and homeless folks. Also, those hotel things, they're going to be using it, like I said, to put people in there when they're sick. So they're leaving people out on the streets with no income. People aren't passing out food. If you guys live near somebody who is homeless or around somewhere that's homeless, if you're making a food drop off a case of water. There's no drinking water out there. Those folks have no showers. So we were putting porta potties and hand washing stations, whatnot, last week in encampments in Oakland. And then the mayor found out what we were doing, and she stopped it. She's like, I'll do it. So now we got every encampment. Now got porta potty and sanitation and hand washing stations and sanitizers. So now maybe she'll fucking do the same thing again. We're putting solar showers into all the encampments. and dropping out drinking water. But water is life. Standing Rock. The water to a homeless person near you, you know? And if people get sick and die, if you notice that, because that's really going to happen. That's like clearly where what's happening. They're not putting people in the hotels until people get sick. If they want to prevent the death of people on the streets, they need to put people in the hotels before they get sick. And so the hotel just becomes a nice place for unhoused people to die. Truly, it's a damn shame, actually. Here in Oakland on Thursday, we're having a huge meeting. We believe we're gonna succeed in stopping all evictions in Alameda County, both of tenants and here in Oakland of unhoused people. And instead of evict people who are unhoused, provide them with a quality of life so they can live and survive the coronavirus. So that's what we're doing. Check out our webpage is thevillageinoakland.org. And that tells you there's a donate page if you want to donate. Or there's our history. If you want to know how we get down, is our history. And then if you want to find updates of coronavirus, we're posting about everything, not just Oakland, but wherever we hear about information around the world. Ooh, around the world. There are so many intersections. That sister who was talking about the theater play from the South, she's from the South. Southern Philippines, we're doing a play here too. Eastside Arts Alliance, check them out. They're like legacy up here. Amiri Baraka, The Red Wind, and Black Dot has a collective over 20 years and 25 years actually. But we're taking over, well, we were going to, so that got stopped. It's a story of migration of place and movement, push and pulled, forced and otherwise. And a lot of stuff what that sister was talking about from Southern Philippines, even what she, like the imagery, like we are homeless everywhere. What Funktown looks like, what High Street looks like, what West Oakland looks like, it's like Smoky Mountain, no, for real. Not as big, but we're getting there in America where the streets were paved gold, y'all. So yeah, thank you all for the work you're doing. Thank you for all the sharing you're doing.
Thank you. All right, I think we have some last minute friends from Manila. So we have Culture Aid, Charisse, hello.
Hi.
I think I unmuted both of you so you guys could talk. Yeah, so you all give an intro.
Kumusta, Charisse?
Hi, everyone.
Anong
Okay,
balita doon?
Okay, so all right, so this is like the first time I've ever done this, and I literally just like entered this group like 5 minutes ago. So medyo hindi ko pa alam kung ano nangyayari. Pero okay, I'm gonna let you know what's going on with COVID and our indigenous communities. So my name is Charisse. I'm from Manila Collectible and Culture Aid. And Kelly Mortensen, she's our executive director, new executive director for Culture Aid, and she's here as well. Hi, Kelly. And hi, everyone. So Culture Aid, basically what we do is we help indigenous communities kind of leverage their own indigenous knowledge to kind of help them navigate through this world, right? And what we do is we provide training to many indigenous communities, primarily weaving communities in the southern and northern Philippines, brass casting communities and wood carvers all around the country. So what's happening with these groups now that we have COVID? First of all, COVID is really like affecting more of the urban cities, like where we are in Manila, right? So right now we have about 300 people that have this virus, and they've locked down Manila. So I live in Muntinlupa, so it's a 24-hour lockdown, and we can't really go out. And basically, we order food and stuff like that, and the local government is sending food to communities, the communities around this area that are in like the most need of all of this. But how is this affecting our weaving center? So we have a weaving center in Sultan Kudarat, and Sultan Kudarat is right beside Cotabato. Okay, the weavers there are Iranun, and they primarily weave inawool. So inawool is basically the tela that they use for malong, if you guys are familiar with malong. And most it's also on lockdown in that area, but the good thing about it is that they do have access to fresh food because they're in the province, they're in like farmlands, right? And a lot of their work is from home. Okay, so weavers, actually, they have all of their equipment. They have their looms, they have their cotton. We provide cotton. They have all their dyes. This is all home, and you can get a lot of the natural dyes from like the sapan wood, the kinalum, the sikarig, all of this you can just get from the plants that are there, so they can still continue their work. The problem I'm having now is once they finish a piece, how am I supposed to get to the money to those areas, right? Because usually it's a bank-to-bank transfer. This online banking thing is still, a lot of people don't really use it, especially in the provinces. They usually go through a pawn shop, okay, and they usually do smart padala, so it's like cell phone to cell phone, and we're still kind of figuring that out, right? So yeah, I mean, the craftsmen, they're still doing their work. I mean, right now it's only been a week, so we don't really know what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. A lot of the weaving centers that we work with, we've already provided them like money early on and funding early on, so that they have a month's worth of supply. If they need medicines, if they need extra canned goods or whatnot, but they do have access to fresh food, so that's not really a problem. In the areas of Sultan Kudarat, Ifugao, the same thing. They have access to that fresh food. But it's just really the medicine, the hospital, if someone gets sick, and they are doing work from home. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's just that, we don't know what's going to happen in the next couple weeks here in the Philippines. The LGUs, which is the local government units, they've been empowered to kind of like navigate all of this. So they're all working really hard, and, just resource wise, we don't know. So we're a little bit, everyone's on edge, but we'll see what happens.
No, thank you. I mean, I think that we talked earlier about like how this is impacting a lot of the indigenous communities, right?
Yeah.
Not just all about, we only see Manila like on Rappler and CNN and all of that, but we're learning about how it's a trickle down effect, right? So yeah.
And can I just tell you that a lot of the news outlets, okay, so a lot of these indigenous groups and a lot of the communities that really do need help, they're not the ones writing. And, I don't want to be like, I don't know, a lot of the people that are writing have never been to these areas. So they're so against like, whatever, they're against a lot of things, and they write about things, but this is not really what's coming from the ground. Like the people from the ground, the people from the communities, they're not writing. So sometimes what you see in Rappler, what you see in CNN is not really like what's going on. These are written by people that are kind of like elite, they're I don't know, it's I have a thing, so
yeah, we get
I'm
it.
just gonna stop it at that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I just want to thank everybody for joining. And if you think I'm going to upload this, if there's value in this, I mean, I think it would be great to do maybe once a week, and I can help coordinate that. But if you also want to have your own specifically for your org, your community, feel free to reach out. I can help set that up. There's a lot of opportunity. I think now that we have the time, and also to reach out. For me personally, I'm going to be doing more outreach, and I think if you have like a small business in your community, I think now reaching out matters even more than it did before. So I got all the links in here, and I'm gonna post them all over social media. And I just want to thank everybody for joining, and I hope that it was cool. And then
Yes, thank you. This is
we
awesome.
should have like a happy hour. Anyone? I'm gonna unmute all. What's that? Yeah.
No,
So,
I mean, I really hope to do this.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, wait, wait.
Yeah.
Thank you.